guys, welcome to Trilogy Talk. Scott here. I've got Derek in studio again here, and we're gonna talk about marksman baskets today. Whether we should use marksman baskets more in tournament settings. Do they make a good practice basket? What's our overall thought on marksman versus a traditional Veterans, Patriot, Innovative Disc Catcher, DGA? Just kind of comparing against those two. So I'll start with, so what made me think of this topic is here in Kansas City last year, Jerry Patterson with Launchpad Disc Golf, he ran an event out at Waterworks Park in Kansas City called Marksman UnHinged. And actually in the description there is a link that Flying J Productions put together for those final nines, and it has Eric Oakley and Ricky Wysocki in it. And so it's a very fun video to watch where they play an 18-hole round on just marksman baskets. And it was actually so popular that Jerry has a series called the Eastern Front Series, or the Battle Series, and I don't know if all of his events are, but at least 4 of his events, if not 5, are just using those marksman baskets. So he's created a niche now where people are playing those in tournaments. They are not sanctioned tournaments, they are not PDGA sanctioned, but they are tournaments, and people enjoy them. But it made me think a little bit about last year. I don't know if you know, but on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, they had a kind of a summit, a meeting where they brought in several of the top players, and they talked about whether or not baskets should be smaller. You know, they're talking about the ease of the game, and one of the ways to make it harder is by putting, because they think in a lot of cases these pros make putting look way too easy. So there were a lot of comparisons whether baskets should be different chain configurations. Should they be smaller? Should we be using marksman style baskets, if not marksman's types itself? So that's what kind of made me think of this topic. And so, I don't know, Derek, you have a thought on if you're playing a tournament and all the baskets were marksman, or you're getting ready to sign up for a tournament and you know it's marksman versus regular baskets?
I would need to be a much better putter.
It also changes your upshot game. It just means it makes it so you don't want to putt so much.
Right. Personally, I think you have to be very skilled to putt well on a marksman basket. The single chains with the pole right in the middle, any kind of aggressive putter, harder putter, I think is just wants to pop off that pole and bounce right back out. I watched the UnHinged from last year. I think it was just finally released, and one of the highlights right off the bat is the first hole was Ricky makes this like 75, 80 foot putt. Just look so easy on a marksman basket. And if you've ever putted on one, obviously you know that was not even close to an easy putt.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
So I highlighted it. I put it up on my page. I said, hey, go to the 3-minute, 17-second mark. That's where it's at, by the way. Right off the bat. I mean, it was just a thing of beauty.
But what's funny about that, before you continue, is so at the beginning of that video when it starts, and sorry for the spoiler alert, but we're going to go through, we'll just talk about this hole here, but at the beginning of it, Jose Osa, who owns Flying J Productions, who did the filming, and Jerry Patterson also did the commentary with him. But at the very beginning, I don't know if you caught, but he kind of made a comment, I don't remember the exact wording, but basically he had said that they're not the best catching baskets.
Right.
About the marksman baskets. And then hole 1, Ricky Kansas 70-foot putt, and Jose right away is like, I retract my statement, show's over. Just basically right in his throat.
Ricky turns around, he says, did I pass the marksman challenge or something like that? But yeah, they, and it's the same. Latitude's got a skill shot? Is that what it's called?
No, that's skill shot is I don't remember what the Latitude one's called.
What is that?
I will find out. Good thing of Google.
Not skill shot.
Yeah.
How do I even know that name then? Because I'm not an Innova guy. Anyway, they've got a similar basket.
Skill shot's actually DGA.
Okay, there you go. It makes me feel a little better. But somebody had messaged me just a couple weeks ago asking me, what's the major difference between...
Called the Pro Basket Skill.
That's what. So it's
that was close. He wasn't too far off.
I thought I had skill in there somewhere, but somebody was asking me what's the major difference between the skill and the marksman, and essentially I think they're basically the same basket.
One's black, one's yellow.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what they're going to do, how they're going to catch, how they're going to respond, I think they're pretty much the same thing. But you have a much more narrow target. You've only got a single set of chains, and you've got to be pretty spot on. You've got to come into the chains correctly in order for it to really hold your disc.
Well, I've learned, and I did play a marksman event Jerry had at the end of last year out at Wilbur Young Park. And at the time when I played it, I wasn't very happy because I wasn't making a lot of putts. But what I walked away from it, as I really thought about it, is, when I putt on a normal basket, and I actually said this when I was at my putting league last night, is I typically, you've seen me putt, I putt pretty hard, but I putt pretty center. And when I'm putting on a normal veterans basket and I'm putting center, I'm making them. But for some reason, when I go to that marksman, I don't know if it's a mental block, something changes, my body knows it changes, but all of a sudden, I'm aiming right, or I'm hitting right. And so some of it is, you got to get past the fact that it's thinner. And I love the marksman for a practice basket. And actually in my backyard, I have a DGA basket that I won that I putt on. And after I feel comfortable with that, I move over to marksman. And I wait till I'm happy with where I'm there. But mentally, I'm like, I putt the same regardless of which one, and which basket I'm putting on. But some reason when I get to the marksman, my mind changes. But when I'm playing it in an event, like when I played the marksman challenge that Jerry ran, I was playing my same game where I kind of thought later is on a marksman, unless you can really mentally dial in that they are the same basket, I have to change my upshot game. I have to change how I'm looking at how I want things to aim. And I am a fairly aggressive putter. I jump putt, and I don't want to, normally in a basket, I'm confident enough, but if I 40 out or 50 out and I jump putt and blow by 20, I'm totally fine with that on a normal basket. But on a marksman, I do not want to do that. So I tend to slow my putt a little bit more, I glide it a little bit more. It kind of changes. But really at the end of the day, I don't feel like it should change anything. I do think it's a mental aspect of, unless you're traditionally putting, like if you're putting to the right, you have a hyzer putt that comes in or an anhyzer putt comes in, because on a marksman it's thinner, it's not going to catch as much chain. So if you come in on the right, you have a chance that it's going to push. If you come off on an anhyzer, you have a chance that it's going to push.
Yeah, when I've putted on them, I've always felt like it's more beneficial to putt low.
Yeah.
Bring it in right over the basket versus high, where it's got more chance to.
It has more recoil.
Really, it's got more chance to really spit out on you. I think your angle of the nose angle of your disc comes into play a lot. As far as using them for an actual tournament, something like what Jerry's doing, I think is great. I think it's fun. It changes the game up. It keeps people excited. Using them in a professional setting, I don't think is a good idea at all, because it does. I do feel like a marksman caters to a certain type of putter more than other putters.
Sure.
So a more aggressive spin putter or something may not get the same kind of reaction that a loft putter would, or somebody who putts with nose down or something like that. There's a lot of factors that, and I get a regular basket affects that too, but it's a lot more noticeable and a lot bigger difference on a marksman basket. Yeah. Now, making the basket smaller is one thing, but I don't think marksman is the answer to that.
Right, and I think a lot of people agree with you, and I'm kind of on both sides of the situation, but to kind of respond with as far as the different putting, I do think, yes, if a marksman came in and it was at a professional level, it might cause people to have to adjust what they're doing. But otherwise, if you think about any other sport, it still is a circumferenced hole. If it's a hole in the ground like golf, there's a different style of putters, but you just got to hit that same hole. Basketball, there's different styles of throwing. Everybody's got to get it in that same way. Now, yes, we're throwing discs. It's spinning differently. But even on any of those, you hit the outside edge on something you're playing where you're trying to get something in a hole. You can't get on that outside edge. More than likely, it's not going in. You have to hit center. There are some baskets that are out there that the chains are thinner, and you hit center and you hit the pole, it's just going to hit straight back because they don't catch enough. Some baskets have way ton of chains that don't have enough give, so if you hit them, or if you hit them too soft, but even center, they push. So I think if the marksman's out there, it's just, yes, that would mean that people have to adjust, and that might take some learning for stuff, but I do think the concept of the game is still you have to hit it in the center.
Right,
You know,
and I think the whole
Yeah.
whole point is to try to adjust the scoring slightly, you know.
yeah, create that scoring
I
differential.
mean, we've been through this before, and should pars be different, and this, that, and the other. And the reality is the playing field is still the same across the board. I don't think that the scores are reflecting our sport. I don't think the scores are changing the growth of our sport like some people do. And that's just my opinion. Obviously, some people don't agree with that, but that's my opinion on it. So,
Well, I like the Marksman as a practice basket. I like it for fun, unsanctioned events like Jerry is running, things like that. I agree. I'm not certain that I like it at a professional level. I don't disagree that maybe something should change on the baskets. Maybe getting rid of the circle, maybe doing some adjustments to add a little bit more degree of difficulty for that putting is an answer. We're not really here to talk about how to make the game harder. We just wanted to really talk more about the baskets and give a little bit of insight for that. Again, if you guys haven't seen it, check out the link for Jerry's Marksman UnHinged. It's a fun event. If you have an opportunity to run something like that in your area, I think it's something neat to do. Something I've even thought is, because not everybody has access to 18 marksman baskets, is maybe doing a hole at a league, you know, or something like that, or an unsanctioned event. I'm not positive if they're a PDGA approved basket to whether or not they could even be used in a PDGA event. Very well may. That's something you could research on PDGA. I didn't think of it till just now, so I didn't do that research ahead of time. I apologize for that. So, but again, as always, if you have any comments, any concerns, likes, dislikes, share them in those comments before. We're all learning together. So until next time, share the Trilogy love with the world. We'll see you later.